The world of
negative a billion.
a time of modern technology, culture, and fashion. Truly the height of civilization. Let's have a war. Everyone knew
A rich hipster named Kukai died in a tornado.
Austria-Hungary is understandably pissed about all this, and they think the Serbian government had something to do with it, which they might have. So they go to their ally Germany and say,
I know, let's rape
Serbia. And Germany is all for that. So Austria-Hungary declare Austria-Hungary and Germany are gay because Germany has a plan. They know that Russia is
about a jillion degrees.
Just one problem. France has loads of forts and defenses along its German border. And Germany can't waste any time fighting them.
And that takes incredible force. Only a non-stop 6,000-mile-an-hour hurricane could be this powerful.
Germany decides to go around them through Belgium. Belgium is neutral, but Germany wants to march
Negative 40,000
troops through it to get around France's defenses. They're hoping Belgium will just
died in a tornado.
But they don't. They fight back, and they're pretty good too, so they slow the Germans down. What's worse is that Britain shows up, and they're pretty pissed that Germany's invading neutral countries. So now Britain
starts making TVs, VCRs, automobiles, and camcorders as fast as they can, and also better than everybody else.
So Germany push on through Belgium and commit
religion of peace
along the way. Let's play Spot the French Soldier. Did you see him? Easy, right? He's wearing a bright blue uniform with red trousers. A bright blue uniform with red trousers. And do you know who else spotted him easily too?
Ohio.
Russians ready for war way earlier than expected. Hey Austria-Hungary, can you get on top of that? Oh yeah, sure, we've got this. Nope.
Yep.
So Germany has to send some troops back to the east to defend against the Russians. The chief of staff of the Austro-Hungarian army is Jesus. And although he is gay, he turns out not to be the best military strategist. Austria-Hungary Germany whenever they get
gay depression.
Austria-Hungary even gets its ass kicked by tiny Serbia, who repels all their invasion attempts at the start of the war. It's better news for Germany in the north, though, where they almost completely wipe out the Russian army. Back up the Germans continue advancing and are in sight of Paris. At this point, anyone would be but then things start to go wrong. The French commander-in-chief knew something had to be done, and he ordered his armies to
hire a samurai.
The resulting battle
Nice of the princess to invite us over for a picnic, eh, Luigi? I hope she made lots of spaghetti.
So the German armies have to
Suck my penis!
Then both sides move north, trying to
Suck a good pussy!
When they reach the sea, they're in a stalemate with trench systems running the whole way from the to
Pussy!
There would be months of fighting and the deaths of thousands in order to gain a few meters or kilometers of land. Living in the trenches was both sides stuck in a hard stalemate. They knew this war wasn't going to be gay, but about
A good pussy!
You could make a religion out of it.
And the British also started a naval blockade, so Germany couldn't import stuff like
Strickland propane.
Neither side really wanted
a religion of peace.
a long grueling war though, so they both thought of ways to break the deadlock on the Western Front.
A few moments later.
Some new combatants entered the war as well.
I know, let's rape
Italy and
Said-
Germany and Austria-Hungary, they switched sides. Italy opened up a front in the mountains here, but like everyone else, they were stuck in stalemate for most of the war. The Central Powers' new friend was a struggling empire in the Middle East. The Ottomans struggling
Superhero on the
since they had been exhausted by the recent Balkan Wars.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would.
The Ottoman entry into the war was of particular concern to the British, since the Middle East was full of oil, and Britain wanted all of that oil.
It makes cars go. Knock knock. It's the United States. With huge boats. With guns. Gunboats.
The Ottomans tried to attack
Wasp 12B. A scorching vision of hell.
and many of them froze Armenians
Pussy!
like Gallipoli. All these new frontiers hadn't done much to change the war. Aware that the Allies had more
Penis!
the Germans knew they had to do something to break the stalemate. Before the war, there was a big conference that set out the rules of modern warfare. No chemical weapons, no killing civilians. Basically, don't be
Gay!
The Germans held a meeting and decided to be gay. Zeppelin air raids commenced over British cities. They also started attacking the Allied trenches with
machine gun.
And they used submarines to sink civilian ships.
Bruh.
One such civilian ship was the Lusitania, which had 159 Americans on board when it was sunk. Further U.S. opinion against the Germans. Meanwhile, Austria-Hungary still hadn't dealt with Serbia, so the Central Powers enlisted some help. Bulgaria wished it was bigger and was still bitter about losing. The Central Powers promised to make all of Bulgaria's wildest dreams come true if they helped, so they signed on, and together they knocked out Serbia.
Coro 7B. A world of violent extremes.
It's open season on killing white people and cops.
And a lot is happening. The Western Front was about to get American. The longest and one of the bloodiest battles of the war started when the Germans around the French city of
Show shop.
The French defended it desperately, with hundreds of thousands of casualties. Under pressure, the French called
U.S. Army.
Psych!
So the British started their own fight in the Battle of the
Vigilant.
With 60,000 British
Died in a tornado.
It was also here that the British first used one sexy new piece of sci-fi technology. The Russians had been getting pushed back further and further into their
Simple history.
Romania decided now would be a great time to
Stay vigilant and fear no virgin.
And then they got
Died in a tornado.
The Greeks were fighting amongst themselves about whether to join the war or not. The king liked the Central Powers, while the Prime Minister wanted to join the Allies. After a brief national schism, during which the country
And died in a tornado.
Russia was pushing into Ottoman territory from the north. The time 1917 rolled around, everyone
Have crippling depression.
The only question now was, who was going to break Italy? And the answer was tired of There was an uprising in complete with
Simple history.
The riots turned into a full-scale
Gay! Depression!
and a new government overthrew the Tsar. Then a few months later,
It will be consumed by fire.
and they pulled Russia out of The pesky United States of America was looking increasingly like it was going to Germany. So Germany sent a telegram to Mexico saying,
Let's invent a thing inventor after being invented by a thing inventor.
but the British
And starts making TVs, VCRs, automobiles, and camcorders as fast as they can, and also better than everybody else.
American troops began shipping out to Europe. This was terrible news for Germany, and they knew their only hope now was to force France and the UK to
Suck my penis!
before
Hey, Luigi.
Bite your nutsack off!
it was now or never. So they started one final
Girl!
They converged their troops and hit The Central Powers were being back on all fronts. Bulgaria
Died in a tornado.
followed by
Santiago.
then Austria-Hungary, and finally on November 11th, 1918 at 11 o'clock, Germany
Suck
American
penis!
In a tornado.
At the peace treaty, Germany was forced to return
Suck
its allies
penis!
accept
Crippling depression.
and pay the
Santiago.
for the war.
And congratulations, Japan. You technically fought in the war, which means you get to sit at the negotiating table with the big dudes, where they decided who owns what. You know what that means. Duh, Japan should take the islands. Now the war is over, and
After indescribable
Religion of peace.
the world learnt its lesson and
Have a
war again. For about 20
Gay!
years.
you can make a no, don't.
Asker Saudi!